The person you can't stand is carrying a message addressed to you. Think about the one who gets under your skin fastest. The loud self-promoter, the lazy one who somehow wins, the friend who brags about a launch you secretly wanted to be yours. Your jaw tightens just picturing them. By the end of this, you'll understand why that reaction is the most honest map of your own mind you'll ever be handed. Here's what your irritation actually is. It's a signal flare fired from a part of you that you've disowned. Every trait that lives inside you splits into two piles, the parts you've claimed and the parts you've exiled. The exiled ones don't vanish, they wait. And when you meet someone who wears that exiled trait openly, walking around expressing what you've buried, something in you recoils. That recoil feels like judgment of them. It's recognition of you, so the real question becomes, what exactly are they showing you that you refuse to see? Start with the braggart. The one who posts every win, every milestone, every number. You roll your eyes. You tell yourself you'd never be that desperate for attention. But sit with the heat behind that eye roll. Why does it burn instead of just boring you? Genuine indifference is quiet. Heat means something alive got touched. Somewhere you decided that wanting to be seen was shameful, so you locked your own hunger for recognition in a back room and threw away the key. Then this stranger struts past, expressing the exact desire you imprisoned, and you call them shameless. You're describing your own cage. This is the law of assumption working in reverse. Your consciousness is the only operant power, and whatever you assume true about yourself, the world reflects back like a mirror with no opinion of its own. People are not separate broadcasting stations, they are screens. The person who irritates you is showing you a movie that's already playing inside your own awareness. You just didn't recognize the footage because you filmed it years ago and hid the reel. Now watch what your mind does next. It rushes to prove the irritation is justified. But they really are arrogant. Everyone agrees. Maybe. Plenty of people share traits you find mildly annoying, and you move on within seconds. The ones who haunt you, the ones you rant about on a walk, 3 hours later, those are different. The intensity is the tell. Mild dislike is information about them. Obsessive irritation is information about you. So which of your enemies still lives rent-free in your head tonight? Let's go deeper, because there's a second kind that stings worse than the braggart. The person doing the thing you told yourself you couldn't. You're grinding on a skill, building quietly, telling yourself the timing isn't right, the market's crowded, you need one more course before you launch. Then someone with half your talent ships the messy version and gets traction. The rage that floods you in that moment is pure gold. It's really your own unlived life pounding on the wall, furious that you keep choosing the safe story over the assumption that you're already the kind of person who builds in public. Feel the difference between those two reactions. The braggart exposes a desire you exiled. The doer exposes a capacity you denied. Both are you. Both are knocking. And here's the part that changes how you walk through the world. You cannot be irritated by a quality you have fully reconciled within yourself. Meet someone arrogant when you've made genuine peace with your own ambition and you feel nothing sharp. Maybe mild amusement. Maybe a quiet note to learn from their boldness. The charge is gone because the matching charge in you got grounded. Reconciliation removes the hook. Nothing external can smag what's smooth inside. So what does the inner work actually look like? It starts the next time someone irritates you, with affirmations whispered at a mirror staying exactly where they belong. Nowhere near this. Instead of building the case against them, you turn the lens. You ask one question that most people never dare to ask. Where do I do a version of this? Not the cartoon version, the honest one. The braggart wants to be seen. Where do I starve for recognition and pretend I'm above it? The flake breaks promises. Where do I quietly abandon commitments to myself at midnight when no one's watching? This question stings the first 100 times. Stay with the sting. The sting is the exiled part walking back through the door. There's a discipline here the motivational crowd skips because it doesn't fit on a poster. Your mental diet. You become what you persistently give attention to, and most people feed themselves a steady stream of contempt for others without noticing they're eating it too. Every time you rehearse why someone is beneath you, you reinforce the split in your own self-concept. You're voting against the part of you that resembles them. Days of that, weeks of that, and you've built an identity defined entirely by everything you refuse to be. That's an identity made of walls. Walls don't take you anywhere. Picture the actual cost in your life, not in theory. You meet a potential collaborator and dismiss them as a tryhard, and you walk away from a partnership that could have doubled your reach. You scroll past someone's launch, mutter, cringe, and miss the exact playbook you needed because you couldn't bear to study a mirror. The traits you can't tolerate in others mark the precise places your growth has stalled. Your irritation is a map of your edges. Follow it and you find the next version of yourself standing right at the border, waiting for you to stop treating it like an enemy. There's a subtler version of this that runs your whole social world without you ever clocking it. The people you instantly admire are also mirrors, just flipped. They reflect the traits you've already claimed, the parts of your self-concept you've made peace with. Your admiration is comfortable because there's no exile being touched. But the irritation is where the real intelligence lives, because irritation is admiration with a wound underneath it. You'd love to be that free, that bold, that unbothered by other people's opinions, and the fact that you can't admit it yet turns the longing into contempt. Flip every person you can't stand and ask what you'd have to become to stop resenting them. The answer is almost always a version of yourself you've been postponing. And notice the timing of when these people appear. They show up loudest exactly when you're on the edge of a decision you keep avoiding. About to launch, about to charge real money, about to put your name on something, suddenly the braggarts everywhere feel unbearable. That's no accident. The world reflects the state you're holding, and a state full of unclaimed ambition projects an army of people doing the thing you won't let yourself do. They're not multiplying in reality. They're surfacing in your awareness because you're finally close enough to the edge to feel the exile straining to come home. Let's talk about the friend who triggers you, because that one cuts closest, the one you compare yourself to without meaning to. They post a win and your whole day curdles. You love them, and yet, that and yet is the unreconciled self talking. Envy, stripped of its shame, is just a compass. It points dead on at what you actually want but haven't given yourself permission to pursue. Most people bury envy because it feels ugly. Buried, it rots into resentment, and you slowly drift from the people who were showing you your own desires the whole time. Read the compass instead. Whatever their win makes you feel, that feeling is your own assumption begging to be claimed. Here's where assumption becomes practice. You reconcile a trait by claiming the clean version of it as already yours. The braggart's hunger for recognition becomes your willingness to let your work be seen without apologizing. The flake's freedom from obligation becomes your right to say no to things that drain you. You take back the gold and leave the dross. The exiled trait was always raw material you tossed out before you learned to refine it. And this is the harder truth the empowerment talk avoids. Reconciliation is a sustained assumption you have to hold while the old self-concept fights to snap back. You'll catch the eye roll forming and have to choose, in real time, to turn the lens instead. Some days you'll do it. Some days the irritation wins and you'll rant on the phone for an hour. That's the work. Living in the end means living as the person who has already integrated all of it, who feels no sharp charge toward anyone because there's nothing left exiled to defend. You hold that assumption before the evidence arrives. You hold it especially when the old reaction feels truer. Watch what happens to your relationships as you do this. The people who used to irritate you start to change, or rather your screen does. The arrogant ones become teachers in boldness. The flakes become reminders of where your own self-loyalty needs reinforcing. The friend whose wins curdled your day becomes living proof of what's available to you. Same people. The footage didn't change. You did. And so the projection rearranged itself to match the new assumption running underneath. There's a strange freedom waiting on the other side of this, and it lands harder than any pep talk. When no one can irritate you, no one can control you. Every person who pushes your buttons holds a remote to your inner state, and you handed it to them by exiling a part of yourself. Take the part back, and the remote goes dead in their hand. You become genuinely unbothered. The kind that comes from wholeness, where every trait the world throws at you finds a matching home inside you that's already at peace. That's sovereignty over your own inner weather, which is the only sovereignty that was ever real. So tonight, the next time someone lights you up, run the practice. Trace the irritation home, ask where you carry the seed of the exact thing you're condemning, and then claim the clean version of it as yours. You're not collecting enemies out there. You're collecting the scattered, exiled pieces of a self you abandoned to feel safe. Every irritating person is a courier, They've traveled a long way to deliver a part of you that you left behind. The least you can do is open the package and finally take back what was always yours.